All right, here we go. August 3rd. Welcome back to our summertime. Love this time of year. All right. I know some of you guys are still struggling with email, and I cannot tell you how many emails I have reviewed this last week, but it's quite a number of them. And what I'm coming to the conclusion of is it comes back to, I think it was John Carlton, the famous copywriter, that said, if you can take a word out and still have the same meaning, then that word needs to go. And what it comes down to is about 90% of the words I'm seeing in these emails need to go. So all of the, and keep in mind, like when you're on an initial communication, you really need to keep things brief until you've created that lean in. You can't go just throwing up on them. And it's, it's just like if you're in a networking event. And I know a lot of you guys have been to networking events, and you'll have people that approach you and it's just too much. It's just like they're oozing things you don't want on you, and they're getting it all over you. So you got to learn to tone that stuff down and use curiosity to your favor. The best thing you can do is throw something, just throw a bomb out and walk away. And if they chase you, they're interested. And then you can continue on and you can start going deeper and deeper and deeper. But if they don't follow you, if they don't chase you, they're not right. Whatever you have is not of interest to them. And you're not only wasting their time, you're wasting your own time. Think about it. If you're in an environment, I'll use a networking event just because everyone's familiar for that. You might have an hour or two. You've got 1,000 people in the room. How many can you talk to if you're spending 20 minutes on each one? 3? If you've got an hour and you're spending 20 minutes on each one, you've got 3. What are your odds of being that one of those 3 is going to be the right one for you? You just chopped your odds like down to nothing. What if you turned that around and you spent 1 minute throwing little bombs out, walking away, and the ones that don't follow you, that's perfectly fine. But what if you got the one that you're looking for? Maybe you're 30 minutes in, you've thrown 30 bombs out, and the one that you needed to find leaned in and asked you the right question. Your odds just went through the roof of getting to the one that you wanted because of numbers. Remember, this is all about a numbers game. It's just like dating. You're going to ask so many people out before one says yes, right? And then that's just the start of the game. That's not, you haven't won the game, you just got to play. So you don't want to try and end the game on the first interview. Not going to happen. You'll just diminish your odds. So in the cold email world, you really need to keep that in mind. It's just about curiosity. Can you get them to click? That saying, curiosity killed the cat, right? You are basically trying to use curiosity to get them to lean in and ask more. You are in the driver's seat when they're coming at you. It's like the difference between you doing cold calling and you getting somebody to call you. If somebody calls you, they're interested. They want to hear what you have to say. When you cold call, you're talking to people that do not want to hear what you have to say. And you probably all know what that's like, right? It's much better when they call you. So that's all you're trying to do. You're trying to put the advertisement out to see who's interested, who's going to call you. And what I mean by that, the equation of that, what that equates to is getting them to click. If they don't click, they don't want to hear what you have to say. They're not going to read a 4-page email to figure out if they want to hear what you have to say or not. You're going to get them in 1 to 2 sentences. If they have to work at it, if it's hard, you're done. You are not going to be able to play the game. So, you know, I always really admired how Frank Kern does this. He'll literally send out, like, I've seen him send out 1 or 2 sentence emails, and they're kind of bizarre, but they invoke the curiosity factor like crazy. And I see Perry Belcher doing this more and more now. He sent a really weird email this morning. I mean, it was really bizarre. And I'm going to have to ask him how this is working out for him, because I've never seen this approach before. He, I mean, it was aggressive. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to actually look up and see what the subject line was, because it definitely got my attention. Let's see here, see if I can find it. Okay, here we go.
John, while you're looking, if on the topic of brevity, I was looking up, and I thought you said for the, and maybe I confused it with online search, but I was looking up and I say, okay, how many characters, including spaces, do you have for a subject line for your email, so that you get the critic, so you have enough characters to say something, you know, witty enough to get them to open it. And they said something between, I think it was 50 and 60 on a desktop email, and 30 to 40 characters if they're opening an email on their phone. 30 phone, characters, yeah. ain't much time to say much. I mean, 30 characters is yeah. So you better decide where you want to truncate it at around 40 letters, and you may not even get all 40. Is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, here's the example on Perry's email from this morning. It said the subject line was "Get off my list." And I'm like, what? Like, is this I know he's not sending this out to everybody. I'm like, what did I do to piss him off? He literally said, "Get off my list" in the subject line. So, you know, I opened that, right? And then it was a very short email, and it was all about him trying to repel you. And once I read it, I realized this wasn't to me, this was out to his list. And I got to ask him, I'm like, Jesus, how did that work out for you? Because it was harsh. He was basically telling you that, you know, he's been sending stuff out to you and you haven't responded, and that, what the hell are you doing? Why don't you just get off my list if you don't want to be successful? It's like, holy shit, that is an aggressive approach. But it wasn't long. It was like very short, very concise, to the point, blunt. I mean, you know, in your face. And then he had, you know, the call to action, which I'm sure people were clicking on his call to action on that because they want to get back in his good graces. Right. So I get why he was doing it. I'm just like, oh my God, that is harsh. I don't know that I would do that myself. I don't know. that would be a pretty big risk. So I just don't have that, you know, that personality to pull that kind of stuff off. But it, you know, I'm always intrigued by it, and, you know, somewhat in admiration of things that work. But anyway, you know, I wanted to throw that out. It was a very bizarre thing.
John, what was the call to action? Was it click here to stay on my list?
It wasn't that. It was actually, he was doing another event. He was trying to get people to go to it. So it was like, you know, here's your opportunity to engage. So it's basically, it's his AI event that he's doing in Orlando in September. And
Okay.
so, yeah, I mean, I know he wasn't doing it to me because I've talked to him about it, and I'll probably wind up speaking at the event. So pretty interesting. Yeah, just pretty wild. But as far as cold email, you really need to invoke the curiosity factor. If you're not using the curiosity factor, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And it's not just for cold email either. This is like, if you're going to do any kind of traffic, and I think a lot of you might have fallen into the trap of you just weren't ready for traffic yet. And, you know, I've hammered this home over and over and over, that it's analysis, creation, and then traffic always. If you haven't figured out your marketing message, you are not ready to take it out to the world. Traffic is a magnifier. In whatever you put the magnifying glass on it, it's going to make it bigger and bolder. And if you've got problems, it's going to make them bigger and bolder, and you're going to be very aware of them. So if you're sending out email, cold email to fresh, hot leads, the people that are searching for stuff, and you're not getting response, that's a problem. And you just made it bigger and bolder, so maybe you could see it. So that means go back to the drawing board, figure out who these people are, what they want, why they want it, invoke the curiosity factor, and get them to take an action. So Russ, you had your hand up.
So the cold email, you raise the curiosity and have them click on it. If they don't click on it, do you send them another one in hopes that they didn't read it, or you just move on to another person?
What I would probably do, like in this case, when you're buying leads and you know what the lead is interested in, because these are very specific, you know, these people ran a specific search for something. So you know what they're interested in. That's like being a mind reader. So if you take one angle, then, and this goes to the big idea, you don't want just one big idea in your business. If you have one big idea, that's one way to grab people's attention. That is like having a hotel with one room in it, right? How many people can you serve if your hotel has one room in it? One, right? So you're gonna serve one audience. Now, if you've got 10 different big ideas, and think of a big idea as just a different angle, you're just taking a different angle for the same thing. You want to play the same game, it's just a different way to grab attention. That's like having 10 rooms in your hotel. You just 10 times the business that you can do. So with this, these are going to be your subject lines. If a subject line does not get opened, yes, hell yeah, I would try a different one. It's possible that, you know, if depending on when they received the email, they might be, you know, just clearing out their junk and it just got thrown away. So maybe they didn't see it. Maybe it went into the spam folder, who knows? So it's not 100% factor that they didn't open it because it wasn't a good subject line. You need enough data to make those kind of decisions. Like if you guys are doing, you know, 5 leads a day, that's not enough information to make any kind of an educated decision. You need data to make decisions. You need hundreds before you make a decision if something worked or not. Like look at Facebook ads, for instance. Most people will run a few $100s on Facebook ads. They'll make a decision, and the decision is always going to be, it didn't work. I'm stopping this. And then you've got guys that are running thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a day in Facebook ads, and it's working. The difference is they had enough data to make educated decisions, and they decided, okay, we've sent, you know, 1,000 visitors to each of these 5 different big ideas. This is the one that worked best. That's now our baseline. So let's test 4 more against it. That's our control. If the new 4 don't do any better, then we throw them out and we try it again. And at some point you say, this is undeniably the one to run. And then you pour all your budget at that one. And you start making money like a printing machine. And when you think about
Hallelujah.
it, exactly, Woody. when you think about it, there are guys in marketing that are making a shitload of money. And when I say that, I'm talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars on a very regular basis. And they're the ones that are paying, just you would think it's crazy how much they pay for their advertising. It's not crazy. It's absolutely methodical. And the thing is, you should want to pay more for advertising, not less. If you're thinking about paying less for advertising, then you don't know how to make it work. These guys that know if they put $1 in, they get $1.10 back or $1.50 back or $10 back. If they get more than the base factor back, how much do they want to spend? They want to spend everything they've got access to. And here's the reason. Somebody asked me the other day and they were using Brendan Bouchard as an example. They said, why is he only spending 30,000 on Facebook? And I said, the answer to that's really simple. That's all the inventory available to him. He's buying it all. If there was 60,000, he'd be spending 60,000, guaranteed. And that's the biggest problem that people run into. Marketers, their biggest problem is traffic channels. How do they scale? How do they expand beyond the inventory? So there's a couple of ways to do that. Either you have new big ideas to send to that same inventory to open up more doors than you had open before with your original big idea, or you find new traffic sources. So what we have available to us is almost an unlimited traffic source. These leads from AI, for you to get more traffic with that is just pouring more keywords on it.
John, the critical thing though is how do you find who that is? You can't go to Google, go to Facebook and say, okay, who's maxing out their account every month? How do you actually find the people that are doing that? That to me, getting, one of the other things I was thinking was like media buyers would be might be a good one because they're always looking. But how do you locate those people? I mean, I know how to do Google searches if I were one looking for customers, but turning the funnel around the other way seems a bit more complex. I haven't quite sorted that out. So I need evil genius.
So let's take it back to the beginning. How did we do it before the internet? Right? So I'll tell you, when I started and I started leading people into creating agencies and running their own online businesses and finding customers, this was for SEO. I would tell them, and this was when the Yellow Pages was still in existence. I think all of you here know what the Yellow Pages is. Maybe Brady might not. He's the young bull, but I'm going to tell you. I told them,
I'm not that young. I know what the Yellow Pages are.
Awesome.
I remember going through the phone book trying to call grandma when I was younger, so I'm good.
All right, well, here's how I would use it. I would tell them, pick up the Yellow Pages. Go to the niche that you want to serve. Like if you want to do garage door installers, or you want to do plumbers, or you want to do electricians. If you want to find out who's spending the money, they're the ones with the full page ads. Right? That was the most you could spend in advertising in that given period. Full page ad in the Yellow Pages was thousands of dollars per month. You know damn well if that person's spending thousands of dollars a month to run a full page Yellow Page ad, they know the value of buying traffic. So it's the same thing now. The Yellow Pages now is Facebook. It's social media. That's where people are hanging out. So if you go into social media and you see somebody running ads all over the place, you know damn well they're spending money. If you go onto YouTube and their ads are popping up everywhere, you know they're spending money. Now, you want to go in, if you want to find these advertisers, go into Facebook, go into YouTube, go into social media and start running some searches on what you're interested in. This is just like the yellow pages. You didn't just open the book and just look page by page, right? You went to the specific niche you were interested in to find the advertiser. Same thing here, and how you're going to find them is you're going to run a search, which that just said, hey, my hand's up, I'm interested in this niche. Who wants to advertise to me? That's how they will find you. And believe me, they're going to find you. You show an interest online, these guys are going to find you, and they're going to find you very quickly. And they'll start showing up. And then you can contact them and say, hey, are you interested in buying leads? They'll probably say, how many do you have? That would be my best guess. So
Okay, super, thank you.
Finding them really shouldn't be a problem. They're transparent. They'll be on you like flies on a big pile as soon as you put your hand up.
The metaphors you choose, John, they never fail to amaze.
Oh, I know.
Shit. Shitload of money.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Everything always falls back on fecal matter. It's kind of disgusting when you think about it, but it's the world we live in, right? Oh,
Shit.
man. No, the roads I travel, I tell you.
Okay, John, if we're talking about emails, then I've heard and I've seen people say, send out the same email you sent the first time. If you got any response off it, send it again and then send it again. And then it takes like 6 or 7 iterations of sending the same email over and over. I think that's kind of like too extreme, but how many times can you how many times can you resend the same email and still be getting responses off in your experience?
Okay, so as long as you're not pissing them off, you can keep sending it. You always want to have a very clear way to unsubscribe. So if they unsubscribe, they just told you stop, right? And if they say stop, you stop. Stop does not mean go in this in this position. So if they say stop, you stop immediately. But on the other hand, like I'm going to use Perry Belcher as an example here. He got leads for people that were biting their nails, right? And he generated, this is something that goes to our pyramid of awareness. So if you go back to the training, you'll find the pyramid of awareness. At the bottom of the pyramid is the biggest opportunity, and that is unaware. So if you have a product that most people are unaware of, like Roger, listen up. If you have a product that people are unaware of, this is where they live. They live in the base of the pyramid of awareness. It's your biggest opportunity. But what you want to do there is you need to alert them. You need to make them aware that there's this thing. Maybe it's a problem. Maybe it's a solution. Maybe it's the answer to their prayers, but they're unaware that it even exists. So you make them aware of it. In Perry's situation here, he was making people aware that they had a problem of biting their nails. So when he entered into the marketplace, that was his big ideas. They were based around, you have a problem that you're not aware of, and it is a problem, and it's going to cost you if it's not cost you already. That was his angle. It was a fear angle. And I know Russ had sent me, some examples of his emails, and I spun him into a fear example. It was like umbrellas cause cancer, right? He's trying to sell umbrellas, and I like, here's a headline: umbrellas are causing cancer. It's like, holy shit, that evokes a little curiosity, right? What do you mean they cause cancer? That's going to get somebody to open up an email. If they're looking for an umbrella and you make that statement, hey, umbrellas are causing cancer, what the hell? I want to know. I don't want cancer. They were unaware, right? They're unaware that he's got the best product on the market. And now he has an opportunity to tell them why. So the unaware part of the pyramid is that's the biggest opportunity. But in Perry's case, he's making them aware of the problem that they're biting their nails, right? Now, he says he sends that email. He sends the first follow-up email after they've opted in. He grabbed their attention. They opted in. Now he gave them like a short thing of, hey, here's the problem. Here's the solution. Here's the offer. They didn't take it. So he follows up tomorrow with another email. You know what his follow-up email says? Still biting your nails? That's it. Still biting your nails? The next day. Still biting your nails? The next day. Still biting your nails? He said people were buying on the 14th email. 14 days in, still biting your nails? Yeah, I guess I am. It's time to solve the problem. Let's buy the product. So how many times is too much? If you've got somebody that's got a problem and you're just reminding them there's a solution, I don't think you can overdo that unless they say stop. They say, no, I don't believe it. Whatever. I've already got a solution. And then stop. But if they don't say stop, and you have something that will really help them, you're not helping them by stopping. You're helping them by continuing until you solve their problem. You know, it's like Eric Lapham, he addressed this thing like years and years ago. I heard this from him probably maybe 20 years ago. He had Dr. Moyne, who is a guy that does NLP. And he works with sales trainers to train salespeople, the top most effective salespeople on earth. And one of the biggest problems that they had was they were selling from their heels, meaning they were leaning back. They weren't really trying hard and they were giving up. And they didn't think it was important for them to put on any pressure. And they felt like they were pushy and, you know, all this negative stuff about sales. And he broke that with a story. He said, think about this. You're not in business to make sales. You're in business to help people. You have a product that helps people, right? And if any of you have a product that doesn't help people, I think you should probably find one, right? I mean, what else are we here for? If we're not here to sell something that will help someone, what are we doing, right? So if you have a product, and he said, let me give you an example, total hypothetical. He said, you have in your hands a product that cures cancer. He said, on the front of you, you have a cancer victim that's a little girl, and she's going to die. Without what you have in your hand, she's going to die. This is inevitable. He says, now, you need to get this to her so you can save her life. And what's standing in her way is her parents. She's not your customer, they are. So if you don't do whatever it takes to convince them that this product will save their little girl, you didn't serve her very well. You didn't serve them very well. And you failed all the way through. Not just for yourself, because you didn't make a sale and you didn't make money and you didn't put food on the table. This little girl just died because you were weak. You were selling from your heels. And when I heard that, I'm like, holy shit, that changed my entire outlook on sales. So you're not selling to be pushy. You're not selling to, you know, for any other reason than to help someone get the benefit of what you're offering. And if you're not offering a benefit to them, you shouldn't be offering it to them. You should either find who you offer it to that it does benefit, or find something to sell that does benefit who you're selling to. You know, There's no other way around it. Otherwise, business is going to be very difficult for you, to the point where you probably throw in the towel and you'll be in that 82% or 80% that Forbes says is going to fail in the first 18 months. Right. And in this, all falls back to the very first part of ACT. If you're not identifying your profitable segment and identifying what they want, why they want it, and pairing that together with what you have to deliver that result, you need to deliver their desired outcome. If you don't know what their desired outcome is, that's going to be really hard to do, because your next step is going to be creating the messaging to convey it. And if you don't know what it is, I guarantee you, you're not going to be able to convey it. And if you can't convey it and you start buying traffic, that's just going to be really expensive. You're going to have a bad day. And what I mean by a bad day is a bad life, because it's one day strung into another till we run out. That's, and I'm going to tell you one thing, life's too long to live like that. So if you're having trouble selling, it's one of those things. Either you have not identified who you're selling to, what they want, why they want it. Maybe you don't have the right product. You know, maybe you haven't figured out how to convey that messaging, but you've got something broken in the very beginning of the process. You got there's a break in your chain. And the faster you identify where that break is, the faster you can fix it. You know, if you identify the break in the chain and you don't stop everything and fix that, you're just wasting time. Those days are slipping away. We only have so many of those. So, and if you guys are anything like me, time is way more valuable to me than money. You can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. So if you waste time, there ain't no getting that back. You're wasting life. Life is slipping through your fingers. So, Woody, do I just sound like a nut job here?
No, you just described my life, you know.
Well, let's fix it. Let's find the broken link and fix the chain.
You know what? You also left out the new market, which will be aliens.
You think they're coming, huh?
Oh shit! Come on.
Hey, don't get too cocky. And I just saw a C-SPAN recording of a congressional meeting where he says, I can't talk to you more about it unless we're in a skiff, but we have recovered biological material from, and they were talking about crash sites. So yeah, it's out there. It's finally shaken loose. So, you know,
there's some crazy stuff going on. Oh man. Well, I have another, I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say that I've probably beaten you guys over the forehead hard enough for one day about, about these emails. So I want to make another announcement. We've got Mr. McLean on here, and I just did a special deal with him yesterday. I didn't know how long it would take to actually set up a business in Kartra from scratch. And I was like thinking, you know, you could probably do it in a day, no problem. I'm certain I could do it in a day. And we sat down not too long ago, and I know he knows about Kartra, right? But we sat down not too long ago and he was airing his frustrations about ClickFunnels. And I'm like, if you knew about Kartra, why were we talking about ClickFunnels here? And their marketing got him. It sucked him in. And just like it did with me originally, and I couldn't get it to work. And that was back then, you know, that's been water under the bridge. So I hold no grudges. I just figure it was, not ready yet, whatever. And he just had the same experience. So I guess it's still not ready, but their marketing is phenomenal, right? And anyway, he was airing these frustrations and the fact that just like me, he tried everything. He tried Infusionsoft, he tried this and that and the other. And he had a full head of hair when he started this. So I said, look, let's sit down and build what you want in Kartra, and I'll show you. It's not that difficult. And he came back to me and he says, well, what if we do this? And he's a master at video and editing and all that. He says, what if we turned this into a training and gave it to all the frustrated people out there and got them on through our Kartra affiliate? I'm like, that is a hell of an idea. So we actually put the rubber to the road yesterday. I said, Wednesdays I usually keep open. Let's start at 9. We got on Zoom at 9 and we're kind of, chewing the fat a little bit, and wound up being 10 o'clock before we got started. But I started we recorded it, and it literally was, he had a fresh account that had nothing in it. I told him before we get here, just set up your integrations, because that's not something you can train on, because you'd have to log into their personal accounts and stuff. So I said, get that stuff done. He was able to do that. So when we logged in, all his integrations were set up, like the Stripe and the PayPal and the Zoom and the calendar with Google. All that stuff was all, the baseline integrations were there.
Which was very easy, by the way, and without the instructions were very clear.
Yeah. So from there, I took it from there, and I took his just clean blank account. I set up a custom domain, showed exactly how to do it, how to set the DNS records and, in GoDaddy or whatever you're registered in. And then we went to work, and we set up a help desk, and then we set up a calendar system, full-blown calendar. And I got to tell you, the calendar they've worked all the bugs out of. It's in the real-time time. The time zones are not a problem anymore. It was a piece of cake. And I know how he loves cake. And every time I talk about cake, his mouth waters. So, but it was a piece of cake, setting up the calendar. And then we set up his product. We set up a membership site to deliver the product. We set up the lists, the tags, the automated follow-up sequence of emails, the abandoned cart tags, the whole thing. And as I was doing it, I was explaining why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, and what the benefit is of doing it the way I'm showing you how to do it. And I even set up like 2 prices for the product. And I said, we're going to set up the first product page for selling the product, and we're going to put a fast action bonus on it. So we put a timer, and the timer starts as soon as they hit the page. And it says you've got 48 hours, got 2 days to take advantage of the fast action bonus. And the fast action bonus was like 2 months of free service after you sign up, instead of just signing up and then going right into the 30-day payments. You got 2 months of free service, and that gives you a chance to decide if you like it, decide if you want refund, whatever. It makes it a risk reversal. And the timer's running. And when they hit it, not only does the timer start, but the follow-up sequence starts to keep reminding them. Remember, still biting your nails? Still biting your nails? The clock is running. You're running out of time. You've only got 1 day left. This ends in a couple of hours. Last chance.
Oh boy.
Right? All completely automated. And then when the timer hits 0, that offer expires, and you just get transferred to the regular offer of, hey, you can still buy the product. It's the same price. You just don't get the free 2 months with it. Just goes right into the monthly fees. So
John, with all this teasing, if you don't tell us right now that it's available, I may come through the screen at you because I am still fighting with Kartra. It still doesn't make any damn sense to me. Nothing is logical in there.
you're one of the ones we had in mind when we did this. So it's going to be available to you as soon as Chris gets the editing done on the recording. And we're giving it away for free. There's no charge for it. Anybody that wants it can have it. The only thing is, we just ask if you use it and you decide Kartra is right for you and you haven't bought it already, just use our affiliate links. Yeah, that's all we're doing it for. But this thing literally, and anybody want to guess how long it took for me to get through all of that and get it all set up?
10 minutes.
A little more than that, Woody. We did it in 3 sections that were, the first section was right about an hour. And in an hour, I had the help desk set up and the calendar set up. The second session, we did the membership site and the product. And that was a little over an hour. And I ran into a couple of things that were new that kind of threw me for a loop. And I think he's going to edit a little bit out. So we'll probably be at about an hour for that one. And then the last one was coming through and just setting up all the other stuff, the form, the lead capture page, the follow-up sequences. And I think that one wound up being a little over an hour as well. So about 3 hours. So literally you could look over my shoulder and set up your Kartra account and fully automate your entire business in about 3 hours. Like granted, it'd probably be a little more than that because you have to make some graphics, you have to write some copy. But if you have your copy, like if you've been through ACT and you know what your funnel should look like and you're just ready to plug it into a system and ready to create, if you had all the pieces sitting right there, copy and paste, you could probably do this in 4 or 5 hours on your own, just with the help of watching this video. There was nothing I didn't go over. There was nothing that you need to do that I didn't do here because I set his entire account up. Like, there's some stuff where he's going to have to go back and edit and clean up and, polish the emails and, maybe polish the text and the landing pages and that kind of stuff. But the raw frame system was up and running and working flawlessly in 3 hours.
Chris, get busy. When is that showing up?
Soon. I'm working on it today after this. And so I'd say by end of day Friday, just to have everything all dialed in, to look through it's 4 hours. If I just sat down and watched it, it's about 4 hours of content, but we're going to knock some out of it. So I would say end of day Friday, I'll pass it along to John.
Yeah. And then
please get it out before the weekend because I want to be back online by Monday. I keep trying to get this damn thing going. It's really burning my biscuits.
Yeah. Well, to that point though, Richard, part of the process then with editing, because like I say, it's an hour section, an hour and a half and whatnot. But, John and I talked about just breaking it up in segments, right? Because John just went through beginning to end. And so, the psychology, if you have an hour and a half video, you may not, get through all of it or there's, so if you break it up in just sections about here's how to do this. And now this, the psychology is if you get like 1 or 2 smaller sections, you feel like you're making progress, So anyway, I'm getting long-winded, but all I'm trying to say is that if you have certain parts that you're wrestling with, just by labeling the sections, you won't have to go through a whole hour to find what you're looking for. You might be able to just go to that section and look at that. Does that make sense?
That sounds like a great thing. As long the part of the problem with Kartra is that they do have those things broken down into short videos, but they're so short you don't know where that piece goes in the puzzle. You got to have a mix between. You got to shift between 10,000 feet and 10 feet. You got to keep going back and forth in order to find your spot and that sort of stuff. But the main thing is at this point, if the whole thing's only 4 hours, send me the raw footage. I'll start watching now because I got to get this thing done.
Yeah.
It's just kicking my behind.
But to what you said, that part about it's just a short video and it doesn't tell you, the why or whatnot. That's what's different about what John does, right? Is that he strikes the balance. And again, this is me from like a guy that didn't even have it set up. John has a way of striking a balance between here's what you need to do, and here's a reason why that's important, and then going on to the next thing. So my point is anyone can give instruction. What's helpful is John gives context to the instruction. So you understand how A relates to B, B relates to C, C relates to D, and the whole thing spells out a word as opposed to individual letters. So that's what you'll get.
Dying to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely different than anything Kartra's ever released, because I'm not just showing how to use the pieces inside the puzzle box. I'm showing how to build a business out of the pieces in the puzzle box.
Yeah, that's true.
What you're demonstrating beautifully, John, is the difference between data and information. You can dump a lot of data on somebody, but if there's no information as to how the data relates, it's all but useless.
Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, Chris would probably have a clearer look and a vision at this, but I don't think I had much of any fluff, if any at all, in this. It was just pure, here's how to build a business and here's exactly how to do it.
Hey, John.
Well, with that, John, I would get comfortable selling Kartra, but until I can get Kartra to the point where it makes any kind of sense to me, I can't, in good faith, at this point, pawn it off on anybody else. So
Sure, I get that. All right, Randy, go ahead.
So for all, I'm going to be very transparent here. And again, I'm a non-techie. I'm pretty good at mustering through Kartra up to still the beginner's level. But where I fall short and where I'm having problems, and I think I shared with you with the email thing, obviously I wasn't ready. I know the value that I bring to the marketplace. I know my craft, coaching and speaking, and I know how I help clients and what specifically I can do for clients. The problem that I'm having inside of Kartra, and I want to get a piece of this too, so this film or this video, so I can understand a little bit more. But the problem I have is the automation part, and like Richard was saying, how does A add up to B and B add up to C, and how do these things connect? And from a lead generation perspective, a funnel perspective, and how does all this tie together? Because from a user standpoint, if you're not a techie, this is just in my mind, it's really hard. I've heard about funnels. I think I got a little bit of a clue about funnels, but how to actually put a funnel together, how to actually put a lead generation thing together, and how do you tie all that together so you have a fully automated online business platform is what's getting me. And how do you convert those leads? I mean, you've talked about what do they want, why do they want it, over and over again, and segmenting and all that. But until you actually see somebody go through the process and explain it in a way that it connects the dots, it's really difficult. And I maybe there are people sitting back and they're so far out there and ahead of me, but I've been on this since COVID, and it's not all coming together yet.
Well, there's two pieces to the puzzle, and the piece that you're referring to is the technology piece and being a non-techie. I guarantee you there's absolutely not 1 second inside this entire video where I'm asking you to do anything technical. It is click the button, paste in something. You're not having to do anything technical.
Yeah, I need to see that video then, because
it is a zero tech operation.
So the issue with the funnel, let's just dive into that real quick. I know Roger that probably has all that. He's a techie, but going from beginning to end of this so-called funnel or drip campaigns and all that, that's where it gets really, really confusing in terms of
okay. So So let me just explain the differentiation between the tech part. The tech part of this, the tech has been removed. Kartra literally removed the tech issue, and it gave you the tool to deliver the funnel. But there's a difference. There's delivery and there's content. The funnel, when you talk about a funnel is nothing more than a sales process. It's how do you take somebody from A to Z, A being that they don't know you, you don't know them. That's a meeting. And then there is starting a communication of value, which is big idea, grab attention, right? Next, after you've grabbed attention, in the real world, that would be set an appointment. The only job of the first meeting is grab attention and set an appointment.
Okay.
So that's a call to action. That's a click to download my free thing, whatever it is, whatever your process is. So a funnel is a sales process. Generally, sales don't happen in an instantaneous manner. You don't just meet somebody and make a sale. There has to be a communication of information, of value, leading up to desire and demand. That's the second part in the act of create, demand, and desire. The best way to do that is to show them how what you have is going to deliver their result. Right? They have a desired outcome. If they don't have a desired outcome for what you have to offer, you're wasting your breath.
Right.
Right? You don't have the right person. So if you have the right person and you have the right product to solve their problem and give them what they desire, you need to now communicate that to them so you can create the demand and desire and eliminate their objections. The best way that I know to do that is to help them understand by showing them how it works, how it's going to do what they want to do, and how it's the thing that delivers the result. Right? In the process of that, you're going to create some objections. I don't care what you're selling. There's going to be some objections come up, and those objections are based on previous beliefs. Like if they're trying to lose weight, they've probably tried a diet pill before, so they have a belief in their head, diet pills don't work. Because I tried it. I know they don't work, right? That's a really strong belief to overcome. Lucky for you, Benjamin Franklin solved that problem for you. He showed you how to reverse any belief on the planet with claim proof benefit. So you know how to overcome the objections. Once you've overcome the objections and you've created demand and desire, the next thing in a sales process is to make an offer. So you create an irresistible offer. You deliver that. And all this stuff needs to get delivered, right? Or the internet, this was all done face to face, belly to belly, on the phone, person to person. There was no automation in the process. The best you could hope for is get a room full of people and do it once to a room full of people, and you're going one to many. That was your only form of automation in the past. But right now, you can figure this out. You can figure out what is my ideal process for taking someone that I don't know, they don't know me, and how do I take them from that state to wanting what I have, can't live without it, and making an offer they can't refuse, and turning them into a customer and delivering the value, delivering the result, and then getting them to stick with you forever. That is where Kartra comes in to deliver that messaging. So you have two very distinct pieces to this puzzle if you want to automate this process and get an automated marketing funnel. You first have to build the funnel. Now, I do this in my head all day long, 24/7. I can't turn it off. It just keeps running. Like when Chris was saying, hey, you know, I want to make a map and let's build from the map. I'm like, oh, fuck no. No, you're going to destroy me right out of the gate. I don't work that way. I'll build the thing right before your very eyes, and then you make your map of what I built. And you can show them the map in the beginning, and then we'll show them how to get there. but I personally don't work from maps. That's like putting me in a jail cell. I work on the fly, liquid, free as a bird, or I don't work at all. I mean,
I think we all do.
well, yeah, we should.
John, do you wear underwear? I mean, come on.
So, and I did this from scratch with no script. I mean, I just did it. Okay, here's the stuff. Let's do it. And I was going to do it in a different sequence. And we started in, and Chris said, shouldn't we do the product next? I'm like, sure, we can do that. It wasn't the way I was going to do it, but sure. If that would make you feel good, hell yeah, let's do it. And he was kind of flipping out after I started into it, thinking, oh shit, I screwed him up. You can't screw me up. I can do this stuff inside out, backwards, forwards, upside down. It doesn't matter because I don't work from a map. You're not going to throw me off. So
You have what they refer to as random access memory. And most people aren't built with that, John. So enjoy it. It's like my wife who can smell colors and taste sounds and that kind of stuff. It's called synesthesia. So yeah, I've had to live with that. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to have, but I wish the rest of the world experienced it, but we don't get that. So we have to come to these calls every week.
so, but I'm hoping that whatever I've got can make it easier for you.
I'd like to address what I think Randy was saying. About the technology is one thing, but how do you make the sequence and how do you, do this and make the offer and stuff like that? And I just, from my perspective, this video addresses, while talking about some of that, it really addresses the first part, which is just the technology. Here's my point. It's really about getting Kartra up and running. And what John did, he started from scratch and went through and did everything I need to take a product and to a squeeze page, a giveaway, followed by, hey, thanks for doing that. A thank you page with like, I'd like to give you, he gave me a strategy. And the strategy is, how about a 1 hour webinar, free webinar. See, I was all about tripwires and making a second sale and sorry, I'm getting off the topic. What I'm really trying to tell you, Randy, is the purpose of this video is to get the tools clear.
Yeah, I think
because here's the thing: I can ask those questions. How do I do this? How do I make a sequence? But see, if I don't have the tools to do it, then it's all in my head. It's kind of like if someone gives you a car. If someone gives you a car, but you've never seen one before, you don't know how to open the door, turn on the key, adjust the mirrors, but you have all these ideas where you want to go. I want to go on a trip. But see, until someone teaches me just how to open a door, close a door, put on a seatbelt, where the key goes, I can put it anywhere, turn on the ignition. And if someone just teaches me to drive 100 feet, brake, put it in park, turn off the car, then I can figure out with this vehicle how to go, how to plan. So that's what I think this video focused on. Let's just teach you how to drive 100 feet. And then when you get ideas or want to try things, one can go into Kartra and start building those pages. But I've always been blocked by like, I got the ideas, I don't know how to do the technology. So I'm just right where I've always been. Anyway, I think that's what
I think you're onto something, Chris, and I appreciate that. I think where I'm struggling, because I learned a piece. I have I shouldn't say all of the pieces, but I have 5 or 6 products or 8 products in there, and they're set up. And I have lead or landing pages set up, and I know how to create a landing page, and I know how to create a product. And I just went and taught myself how to start doing my affiliate program. And I think John and I talked about that offline a little bit. And so what you're saying is I need to watch that video, because that's going to show me how to connect the pieces that I already have in there to make them integrated and work based on the information that I have.
Yeah. Well, you or anyone that has ideas like Richard's got, just look at him. He's got ideas like screaming to get out of his head, but without having a vehicle to build it.
Yeah,
you know,
the problem I run into is if you give me a company that's up and running and has any assets, I don't care if they're losing money. If there's people there and the lights are on, the worst I have ever done with one of my clients, this is the worst, is only 15% month over month. But starting the company so that I've got the lights on and someone there say, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then they all run out with their specialized knowledge, come back and do it. And it's done. And we're on to the next, man. Things go together fast. But I can make a pot if you give me some clay, but I don't know how to assemble the molecules to make clay so that I can make the damn pot. And that's what I'm really running into. And Kartra is just one of another of those kinds of things that does that, which I feel like, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 just came out, and there's a whole scene about he jumps into the car, and the other teams members of Galaxy who have never even seen a car before, there's a whole scene of trying to figure out how to even get into the car. So your analogy is absolutely perfect.
And it's not, and it's not like an iPhone. It's not really, Kartra is not intuitive. I mean, once you figure something out, you go, how did they come up with that to tie to this? It's just not intuitive like an iPhone. And so it's like, okay, you figure something out. You spend hours figuring one thing out, but then you still don't know how to tie it to everything else.
And I think I know why that is finally. Kartra is like an ultimate toolbox. And the reason it's not intuitive is it's not meant to be used in one way. It's meant to give you a palette to make art. You just need to know what tools you need, what colors you need, what brushes you need to paint. They're giving them all to you right there. It's up to you to know how to use them. They can't teach that.
But
the problem is, John, is that all the people that build that stuff have a deep background in programming. So it's logical to them. Programming is not logical in human logic. It has to be machine logic. And if you don't think like a machine and know about how to, because we look from the outside in, they have to build from the inside out. And unless you're somebody like the guys at High Level Pro Tools, who are quite literally the only competent support desk for Go High Level, they are programmers, but they were teachers before they were programmers, so they can do the translation.
And I was going to mention,
and that's what's missing.
That's the piece that's missing, is the teaching part that connects the dots. We've all gone, not all of us maybe, but I'm assuming all of us have gone at least high school, but maybe college, and you have a Professor A speaks in a different language, and you can go to that same class later with Professor B, and Professor B explains in a way that connects the dots immediately, and you go, why did I not get it before? It's because some people are able to connect the dots for you, and other people are not great at connecting the dots. They may be able to do the technology, but they can't connect the dots in real life.
Yeah, well, that's like language, because I had a friend who spoke Hungarian, which is a rare language to be able to speak. And this interesting thing is, in just having conversations, and he basically, when I was asking him questions about it, he says, look, because of the way the language is constructed, there are things I can say in Hungarian you cannot say in English, and vice versa. And that's the same thing we're running into here with the programming. There's literally things you cannot say.
Well, Randy, I can connect dots like no one's seen.
Right.
I connect dots just for fun.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to have you guys go through this and let me know if I've connected the dots sufficiently.
Yeah.
But I think more than anything, you're not going to find your problems in Kartra. You're not going to find your problems in the tech. You're probably going to find the problems in your actual marketing funnel itself.
And that's okay. If I could just get the other done, then I can, or at least understand how to connect the dots, then I can at least go, okay, now I got to get my own internal act together.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is something, for everybody. You probably are not going to come out with a home run marketing campaign right out of the gate. You're probably going to come out with
Yeah.
something, might be close, it might not be close, but you're going to have to create something to try to test it out. And then you're going to have to send some traffic to it. And a lot of people will create something and say it didn't work without sending traffic to it. And they never gave it a chance. And they never spent any money on advertising. They never drove any traffic to it. They never really did what it was going to take to truly test that thing out and see if it actually works or not. Or they maybe sent, 20 people through and none of the 20 bought. And come to find out, it was all their friends. It wasn't ideal customers.
Yeah.
And they got the wrong feedback. And then they went back to work and they chased their tail in the wrong direction instead of going the right direction. That's why the analysis piece, this puzzle, is so key to its success. You've got to be working with the right people. And when it comes time to test it, you have to test it to the right people. And you have to test it to enough of the right people to get a real accurate measurement of its success or its failure.
So speaking of right people, part of Kartra is your database, right? So if you don't have a really large beta database yet, and on top of that, they just came in because they had been connected to you before, let's say, when you first started. So they came into Kartra, and now you've got
That's
this
a problem.
That's one of my problems. And they're not segmented. They, I have no clue on how to fix that. And so what do you do in that case?
So basically you have just a raw database.
Basically, I mean, there are some people in there that have joined the mastermind that I just started, or specifically taken come to live events, but not a huge number of them, no.
Yeah, and you don't need huge numbers to do this. Yeah, I mean, don't think you need thousands of people in a database to have a successful business. I have a very successful business, and my database is not very big. It's not like, tens of thousands of people in my database. I don't have that. I never wanted to have a huge database. I wanted to have a very specific database that was very engaged, and I do.
So that's our dream, but what do you do when you don't have it do you just go in and tag what you think they want? You can't do that.
You can do that. If you know your people, if you know who's on your list, you can absolutely go in and add tags to them. Because when you communicate to the list, if you're communicating based on the tags, you're going to be more successful.
Oh, okay.
So, but let's just start from scratch. Let's just say you don't have any database. You're starting, you're brand new. The idea of Kartra is to generate leads based on a big idea that's based on something that a segment of an audience or a segment of a market wants. So you're putting out there a call to action to get a lead magnet. So the lead magnet should be something that you give away of high value that's incomplete. It grabs their attention, they ask for it, they get it, it helps them, but it leaves them wanting more. So a book is not a good lead magnet, in my opinion. That's a disaster. If they have to read a book to take the next step, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You need to give them like a checklist or a map that, it's what they need, but they're not going to understand it.
Right.
They're immediately going to be able to consume it. They should consume your lead magnet in seconds, not minutes or hours. They should be able to consume the whole thing like, boom, what do I do next? Right? And then
It's like a fishing hook.
Yeah, you got the flash, and then they grab. So you need to know exactly what to offer them right at that given time. Like with Chris's, when we set his up, I said, okay, let's give them an opt-in. Let's not let them wait for anything else. let's immediately now invite them to a master class where they can learn how to take this thing that you just gave them and actually put it to work to get what they want. Let's
Mhm.
do that like right now. In the process of giving him that master class, he's going to get the opportunity now to explain why he's the best option for them to get what they want. He's going to get an option to eliminate their, or an opportunity to eliminate their objections and make them an offer at the end of it. So
Mhm.
that is a perfect sales sequence. So if you're not doing that, and in the beginning, think about this. Every time you create a new landing page, remember I said you could have like 10 different big ideas for the same thing?
Mhm.
He could have 10 different lead magnets. He could have the same lead magnet with 10 different angles. He could have 10 different angles and 10 different lead magnets. And now he's got, he's expanding this by hundreds of factors. And
Yeah.
all he has to do is clone the landing page
Mhm. Yeah,
and add a different tag to that one.
got it.
So as that list is being built, his database is being built, and all of the people in the database are now tagged for how they got there, what grabbed their attention. That gives you the ability to mind read.
Mhm.
When you're talking to somebody, copywriters will tell you the most important thing that you can do is enter the conversation that's already going on in their mind. That's mind reading. These tags will give you the ability to become a mind reader. But this is all just content.
Yeah.
All Kartra is gives you the tool to deliver it in a very concise and precision manner. And I guarantee you there's nothing technical at all about Kartra. It just does exactly what you tell it to do. If you don't know what you want it to do, there's where your problem lies.
Maybe I'm confusing. Maybe I'm confusing the technical aspect of it with the fact that it's not intuitive. So to me, maybe that's the
But see, it doesn't need to be intuitive if you know what you need it to do. That's where I think the disconnect is. You're
Mhm.
expecting to go into Kartra and have it tell you what to do, and it's not made for that.
Yeah.
No, John, one of the things I expect to do it is when you go into a section that says, do you want to assign a tag to this? And you click on the tags and it says, there's no tags. Well, thank you for sharing. Why isn't there a pop-out link to say, want a tag, create a tag here, and it opens a page, you create a tag, you come back, and then you can put a tag on it.
There is.
You got to back out everything.
No. You'll see in the video, it's sitting right there in front of you.
Well, that's what we need to see this video.
Chris watched me do it 3 times in a row. Oh, we don't have that tag? Here, click, create new tag, bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, we definitely need to see that.
So
Roger's got this funny, Roger's got this, like, he's like, I know, I've been there. I got this.
you all have been there. I've been there myself. I mean, you have no idea how frustrating my life was with ClickFunnels when I had to call my nephew every time I wanted to change something. You have
Well, I got
no
gray hair I
idea.
didn't used to have.
You have no idea how that made me feel. It's like, that is not a
I
job.
live there. I
won't
live there,
in it.
John. I live there. I know exactly. It's terrible. It's awful. I do have a question about the lead magnet because with regard to the length. If you're, particularly with SEO Boost and offering a guarantee, which everybody says that if you're anybody offering SEO ranking and offering a guarantee, they're lying. So you can't do a fast, at least to me, it does not seem logical to be able to do a fast explanation of how SEO works sufficiently so that they understand that when you get to the reason why we can, there's an education process. I tried to get it down and it's 11 pages. Now it's not double spaced and 14. It's a legitimate document, but there's lots of white space. It's easy to look at, but it took 11 pages to actually walk them through. If they don't know anything about SEO, how can I actually guarantee doing SEO when nobody else on the planet can? And in fact, they say if you're offering it, you're automatically a fraud. I don't know how you do that in shorter, or do you have a different strategy of going about doing that?
Yeah. So the thing that you created that you call a lead magnet is way too much content to consume for me to qualify as a lead magnet. Because remember, I just said they should be able to consume it in seconds. And they can't consume what you've made in seconds. But all you would have to do is one additional step. You take what you've created and you turn it into a one-page infographic roadmap that doesn't have all the details. It just has the key points. And then you invite them to a free masterclass where you're going to go through all these points and explain exactly how this thing works. And now you've grabbed their attention, you've made them want more, you've given them high value, and you're going to get the opportunity now to create a relationship with them. You're going to be the one that educates them. I guarantee you, you're not going to be able to create that from something they're trying to read through on their own. But you sit there in the masterclass and you explain it to them, and they get to bond with you. They get to know who you are. And then you make an offer to buy something, they're probably going to buy it from you, not from reading your book.
Okay, and you can do those, obviously. You do the master class and then you can record it, and it's a pre-recorded, and you're going down that automated aisle. Okay.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I built for Chris. And it's not what he wanted. It's not what he asked me for. He had a completely different roadmap. And I looked at it and I said, okay, that's nice.
John, you know, there's a reason they hire Sherpas to climb Mount Everest.
I didn't tell him, you know, we're not going to do that. I didn't make him feel bad in any way about it. I just did what I did. And he's like, oh, I like that. Okay, cool.
Okay. So how are we
What
going
did
to
I
get
have
our,
over here? I forgot all about that already.
so how are we getting our hands on this wonderful video? Do I have to sit by the computer all weekend, or?
That is entirely up to Mr. McLean at this point. It's in his hands. It's in his capable hands.
Well, like I say, I'll have it finished by close of business Friday, and then just upload the videos to John, and then he can distribute them however he wants.
Yeah, I'll actually just put them in the ACT program for you. I'll put a whole section in there for you guys. So
We are waiting here with bated breath.
I have to go make sure I can get on there.
John, I missed the very, very beginning. What is this? Obviously you're rolling something out. I'm not really clear as to, is this the beta program that we're?
Well, we started off talking about the beta program with the leads and how the people were having trouble with the emails and all that. That's where we started the call. But then about, I don't know, probably a half hour into it, we kind of shifted gears to something that I'm doing with Chris, is basically creating a new training for how to use Kartra and how to automate your marketing funnels. So it all dovetails together. I mean, if you haven't figured it out, this is all about marketing. Whether it's generating leads or whether it's how to communicate with the leads or how to automate the processes, it's all the same thing. It's like, this has a talk about something that's not intuitive. Marketing is not intuitive. And it's the same thing as Kartra. It's a bucket of tools that's meant for you to be able to create. You know, the most effective business people are creatives. You know, they create. Most of them don't know how to build. You know, there's a lot of people that are very successful in business. I mean, look at Steve Jobs. He didn't know how to build a computer. He just knew what it needed to do. He found the people that could build it for him. You know?
Oh, wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he didn't know. That's why he needed Wozniak. Wozniak was the brainy builder. He brought the vision to life for Steve Jobs. You know, and if you know, I have been telling you guys since day one that I am not a tech guy, and you still don't believe me. I guarantee you that shit makes my eyes roll back in my head. I'm not saying that along the way I didn't have to learn enough about it so I could at least understand it. But I am not a tech guy, and that's just not me. That's why, I was the same as you guys. I struggled with all the other crap programs that have come out because they required you to do a bunch of tech to get shit done. And Kartra does not. There's literally zero tech. I asked Chris at the end of the day yesterday, I said, now, did I do anything at all? Anything at all to build this that would have required any kind of technical knowledge other than point, click, copy, and paste? There was nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And I think it's kind of a discussion, John, about tactics versus strategy, right? Those are two different things. And I think the point of this video for me is it helps me with the tactics. If I move this part here and I put this here and I get some resources, my profile shot and my copy here, here's the tactics to get things in place, then I can go on, which is the focus of the video. Then I can go on to the strategies, but I can't have strategies without tactics. So,
well, here's the thing, and I think you're wrong there, because I'm really glad you brought that up.
That's right.
A strategy is what you're going to do. A tactic is how you're going to do it. You have to have the strategy first. The strategy is what you're going to try and automate. The tactics is like Kartra. Here's the tactical thing that's going to implement this and do what you want to do. So strategy is really the cornerstone of marketing. Tactics is just, tactics are just tools. That's just things that you can do that attach to a strategy. And I've told people this like for years. I'll go to seminars and I see people that are selling really good stuff. I mean, great offers. Like for instance, some of you were in Craig's group when he had Dean Cain come up on stage, and they did an offer for Dean Cain to do an interview with you. So that is basically a tactic. That's a tactic, and the tactic is use somebody that is recognizable as a celebrity to transfer that celebrity status onto you, right? That's a tactic. Now, everybody signed up for it. A lot of people signed up for that. And the problem was they had no strategy to use the tactic. So they spent the half hour with Dean Cain and they had a great time and they got a good experience, but it did nothing for their business because they didn't attach it to a strategy. They went in there not even having a clue of what they were doing this for, why they were doing it, what it was going to do for them, all of that. And I didn't see anybody that actually walked away from that and made money. I could be totally wrong with that. But of all the people I know that went through that and did the interview with Dean Cain, I didn't see anybody that actually came out of it making money with the tactic because it wasn't tied to a strategy. And I tell everybody, I go, stop buying shit. Create your strategy. Your strategy will dictate what tactics you need to implement it. I mean, that's the art of war. You go out onto the battlefield without a strategy, your troops are coming back in body bags, and that's your money. Your money is your troops. You're sending your money, your troops onto the battlefield without a strategy, and they're dying. They're not coming home.
It's really alphabetical. You always have your strategy before your tactic because you never execute a strategy unless it's already contained. Tactic, unless it's already contained within a strategy.
Yeah. If you're not running your business like you're going to war, you're going to lose.
You mentioned a lot of, like in the old days, we look at the yellow pages and those guys with the full page ads. we're making the money. But you know, it's also misleading because sometimes they're a beginner like you are, and they're spreading their money around and they are fucking up left and right, but you're following them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always the interpretation of the data. So if you interpret the data wrong, you can have a problem. But like what I would do is I would go and let's say there was a plumber, let's say there was 2 plumbers with full page ads. You know, at that point in time, you could go down to the library and you could look up the data. There was data on all companies. You could look up and you could see what their annual revenue was. So that right there would verify the data and give you the piece that you needed to interpret which one was real and which one was not. And I would always, like when I taught this strategy, the strategy was you want to get the biggest customer that's going to pay you the most, right? That's the strategy. So the tactical part of that is get the yellow pages, figure out who's running the ads, verify with data so you can interpret, and then go in and now you're on the battlefield. Here's your plan of attack. You get in the door and you say, I am here because I want to work with the biggest, baddest company in this niche. And I have identified you as it. And here's the deal. I'm the best there is at what I do. And I want to work with the best there is here. And that's why I'm here. And if you don't see the value, I only work with one person. I'm not going to take on a competitor because I'm not going to compete with myself. It wouldn't be fair. So if you're not interested, who do you feel is your biggest competitor? Because I want to work with them. And it was very rare that they would send me away without a contract or getting the job. So that was the strategy and the tactics that I would walk onto the battlefield with. That hopefully that makes sense. You need to, you know, sometimes it sounds harsh, but you know, I didn't name my company Internet Dabblers, right? It's Internet Dominators. So the people that I attract, they're not looking to dabble. They're looking to dominate. So if I give them less of a strategy, I'm not really helping them. So hopefully that makes sense. This game is won between your ears before it's won in real life. You know, you got to think it out. You got to think it through. That's what the whole ACT program is for. It's the roadmap to think this through. And it's all like methodical. If you haven't got the first one, you don't move to the second one. You go back. You know, sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board. I can't tell you how many ideas I've had, and I take it to the first step. I'm like, oh no, it doesn't work out. That doesn't pencil out. I can't do that. Start over. I just failed, but I failed in seconds with no cost out of my pocket. I didn't put any soldiers on the field. Didn't jeopardize any soldiers in that battle. So Russ.
Hey, John, I was hoping that you could point me in the right direction. So after you send the cold email, the link is going to go to a landing page, or I hate using the word squeeze page, but a landing page that's going to give them the claim proof benefit. Is there somewhere in the ACT program that you have the format or a template, just like a basic one, how that would be structured?
It really falls on the big idea. That's the process that you're looking for. That initial landing page should really revolve around a big idea, which the formula there is a promise, a unique delivery mechanism, and a unique angle, an intellectually interesting angle. That's the formula to get a big idea straight. And then once you've got the big idea straight, you can say, okay, what can I offer them? I'm going to create this huge curiosity in them. And I'm making them a promise that they can get what they want. So what am I going to offer them for free? And the best thing that you can offer them for free is take a look at the roadmap, like the timeline of what they're going to have to do to go from where they are to where they want to be, and give them the first step. The first step is the perfect lead magnet every time. And what that does is if you give them that first step and it's actionable, they can take it, they can understand it, and they can do it. They can take that action instantly and get a result. That drives their confidence through the roof that they can actually get what they really want, and that you're the one to deliver it. You're the one to take them there. And, once you've given them that first thing, it leaves them wanting more. It always should leave them wanting more. It's very useful, but incomplete. You don't want to give them the thing that takes them all the way where they want to go. You just give them the first step. Let them take the step. Let them gain that confidence. Let them feel like, oh my God, I'm closer. I like this. I like this guy. This guy's getting me what I want. And that's basically the way you do a lead magnet. And in your case, the first step is just information. The first step is the understanding of, they want to be safe and they didn't really know what that meant. And then you're leading them through the thing that actually will give them what they want. If you're trying to, like, your umbrella is functional. If they just want an umbrella to stay out of the sun and, they think that just being in the shade is all that matters, it's your job to convince them otherwise. It's your job to tell them, hey, that thing that you think is safe is really putting you in danger of getting cancer. And you don't know it. Let me show you why. Let me show you what you need to do to avoid cancer, and give them that first step. And then that gives you the opportunity to work with them more, give them more information, leave them wanting more.
I don't know if there's something free that I would give them. I think it's just educating them, taking them down the next steps, possibly showing them a video of what can happen if you do, what can happen if you don't.
That's all.
Take them to the sales page.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking about. When you give them something free, it's not your product.
Okay.
You're never giving them your product for free. You're giving them something that is useful, and generally it's the education. Like when you give them a PDF or an infographic, the infographic is just to allow them to take the first step. And in your case, the first step isn't buying the product. The first step is understanding that the other products are putting them in danger. That's your first step. Once they take that first step, now they've got the confidence to know, okay, I still need the umbrella. I still want the desired outcome, but I know now I don't want that one.
Hey, John, if someone was to use an infographic, for example, a blueprint or whatever, are you saying that you don't give them the full blueprint? As an example, you give them maybe it's a 5-step process or whatever it is, the blueprint, and you specifically give them step 1 of those 5, but you let them see the headline and all 5, what each of the steps are, but don't give them the detail?
Well, you can basically, let me show you an example. And I know I've shown this before, but let me show you an example of an infographic. So if you go onto my site, I've identified that client acquisition is a real big term. Client acquisition, when people understand that term, that's very meaningful. So they're going to click on that. And when they click on that, this is a big idea. If you want to scale your business, somebody that knows, I guarantee you that's their language. Somebody that understands client acquisition, this is why they want client acquisition, to scale their business. Right? So I've done the analysis. I know this person. I know what they want. And now I'm telling them, I'm giving them a fact. You need a predictable way to get new clients. If you want to scale your business, you need a predictable way to get new clients. how wordy is this? How many words could I take out of that and still have the same meaning? Right? And then here I say, this is the best client acquisition system. Download it now. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. It follows that pattern perfectly. And I'm even showing them what it looks like here. Predictable client getting system. That means client acquisition in simpler words. So if somebody happens to get here and doesn't understand client acquisition, I'm breaking it down in a 3rd grade level so they get it. So they go here. Again, this is a micro commitment. I've taken the whiskers off the cheese. They don't see that they have to put their name and email address in here. They don't have to make that decision yet if they want to give me their name and email address. All they have to decide is, yes, I want this. Click on it. Now get instant access. Okay. They already made the decision that they wanted it. So the idea that they are not going to put their name and email address in is almost ridiculous at this point. So here, this is the thank you page. This is basically Kartra's doing this, right? So I can download it now. I've also got a short video here. So let's go and download this thing. We'll put it to my desktop. There it is. Now here it is. This is jumbo, 214%. Let me take it down a little bit. Take it down a little more. Okay, so there's the cover. Step 1, analysis. That's starting to sound familiar. Market segmentation, display planner, Facebook insights, trends, avatar creation. I'm giving them the exact blueprint for ACT. Now, do you think someone could take this and actually do it?
No.
So I've given them something very valuable, but it's incomplete. Now, in their email box, they're going to get an invite to go watch a video where I walk them through the ACT process. And then I even stick a fork in them at the end. Profit doesn't have to be painful. You just follow analysis, creation, and traffic. So that's my lead magnet. Then there's not any heavy reading here. They could consume this thing in a couple of minutes. Right? And then if you look back here, watch the short video below to see how it works. So again, this is not a long video.
One home run marketing campaign can change your life forever. Marketing automation can boost your lead flow and increase your profits while systematically acquiring new customers. This is why successful businesses depend on automated marketing campaigns. But the learning curve of doing it yourself and the cost of hiring an agency is often a bridge too far. Internet Dominators help small business owners create home run marketing campaigns and automate their marketing. This produces ad agency results with little to no budget. Your experience or skill level doesn't matter. Our ACT marketing protocol was designed to get you up and running super fast. ACT is an easy 3-step conversion formula that combines automation to a proven ad agency success model. Simply put, it leverages the power of the internet to drive motivated buyers to your offers. All you have to do is model its success. This will give you the power of automated funnels that sell like crazy, so you can attract and convert high-profit customers on autopilot. That's right. Even with a non-existent budget, you can enjoy predictable growth for your business fast with the ACT formula. This is the last marketing program you'll ever need. Stop struggling. Start modeling success. Imagine the confidence and pride you're going to feel when you can predictably grow your business. Get started now. InternetDominators.com/ACT.
Wow. Very nice, John. Very nice.
And then look at it, forwards you right to the sales page.
I think I got way in
Is that
before you
some
created
kind of
that.
robot voice or what?
It was just a voiceover. It was just a woman's voiceover. So this right here, this is a sales process.
Mhm.
So I'm using pieces of Kartra to implement the strategy. But the strategy is to grab someone's attention, make the promise of how to get more customers for them, which is what they want, you know, and give them a way to do it. In that little short video, there was so many things done in that little short video that I have been talking to you guys for years about: eliminating objections, identifying what they want, creating demand and desire, telling them how it works, all the stuff. It's all packed in that little 2-minute video. I didn't have to, you know, stretch that out. It didn't need an hour-long video to get everything I needed across. It didn't waste their time. I know these people don't want to waste time. Business owners are want it now, get it now. No hesitation.
Okay, so now we can use that, your website, as if we're looking at to buy that, and we can model that. But
That's what the whole thing is about, modeling success.
right, okay, so Will Smith, let's put this in reverse real quick. So I went to Internet Dominators, I logged in into the system, the ACT system. And of course, you know, you have the quick start, analysis, creation, traffic, support calls, etc. Reseller program, ACT Apprentice. But I don't see where this fantastic video is going to be put. Where are we going to find that video?
That's going to be in, well, that's on the home page. If you just go to the home page of Internet Dominators, you click on the link that says client acquisition right at the top.
No, I know for what you just showed us, but the video that is being worked on and polished.
Oh, gotcha. The one that Chris is doing.
Right.
Okay, I'll probably put that under the bonuses tab.
Bonuses.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I know exactly where that's going to be.
Yeah, because I think there's even a page in there already for Kartra. Is there not?
Under resource, I don't.
It's either under resources or bonuses.
Under resources, I see Dominator resources, and
Yeah.
then $2 leads, but I don't see anything else.
It will, well, ultimately it will be under that. So,
All right, so resources, because
Yeah,
there's
we'll put it-
special. You have the special offers in there.
yeah, we'll put it under resources.
All right, I just want to make sure I know how to find you.
John,
Yes, go ahead.
I appreciate the beautiful example that was chock full of the things you've been teaching us over time. In the text, she says conversion formula,
Mhm.
but the word on the screen is conversation formula. Just
Ah,
FYI,
yeah, I remember I was supposed to change that.
just FYI.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Lily.
Hey, I just had a quick question. So we've talked about emails already, but last week, Lauren was also sharing a lot of information about cold email marketing.
Yes.
And I'm just curious, did you guys connect on whether or not you'll have a follow-up training or something of that sorts?
Yes, I got a semi commitment out of Lauren for that. I need to connect a little further and kind of see if I can lock down some details. I would love to have like a full training on what Lauren knows about that. That would be absolutely awesome. So
Mhm.
I'm going to
Okay.
work on that, and hopefully we'll get that. There's other
Okay.
people too that I may wind up bringing in for that, because I know some people that are really good with email systems, email deliverability, and that type of marketing. I'm sure I could get Matt Basak to come in and do a segment for us. The only problem with him is he's very salesy and he talks really fast. So I think
I
Russ
remember you saying that. Yeah.
would attest to that. It's just like he's like a hurricane. You know, his information is awesome, but he is just like an absolute hurricane blowing through the city, destroying everything in his path.
Well, the good thing is your sessions are recorded, so we can always go back and
Yeah, you could slow it
review
down,
the videos. Yes, slow it down.
put it on about half speed, and you might be able to hear what he's saying. He's just very excitable. He gets really passionate, really excited, and the more passionate and excited he gets, the faster he talks. It's pretty
Another follow-up question to that. One of the things that was mentioned while talking with Lauren was not to use our domain email when
Yeah.
doing cold email marketing. But what if you've already spoke to these people like by phone? Is it okay to then
yeah,
follow up with a
that-
domain email?
yes, absolutely. The deal is with cold email, you could get complaints, and complaints can really do damage on your email reputation. So you want to avoid that. You want to protect your domain at all costs. Your domain should last you forever. So you want to make sure you protect that. So the idea here is to use some sort of a bulk mail provider that you don't really care, you know, if you get that junked up, it's not going to hurt your business or your email. And you use them to deliver the cold email. All the while you're trying to get them to click to opt into something. Once they've opted in, they're no longer a cold lead, they're a warm lead. You can send them directly from your email. So like getting them into Kartra, my goal is to get them to click on a landing page in Kartra to opt in there and get into a marketing funnel. Once they're in a marketing funnel, they're warm leads, and you can send them direct. You can email them as much as you want with the premise of always giving them a way out. You always want to allow them to be able to hit the stop button and unsubscribe. So
related to that, when you first came up with this lead generation AI tool, and you drew that long list of leads, SEO leads, the very first night, your intention was to email, whatever few you thought you might get the next day. Were you going to email them from one of these ambiguous email addresses?
no, I wasn't. I actually had no idea what to expect. When I set that up, I was literally just going to test it. I expected maybe a half a dozen. That was my expectation. And when I woke up in the morning and I had, 600 and something of them, I was like, holy shit, what have I done? Now, that was completely a situation of I did something that I wasn't ready for. Just like a lot of people do. A lot of people buy traffic and they're not ready for it, and it just becomes expensive and wasted. So I actually fell myself into that category right out the gate. I wasn't expecting it to do that. When it did, I didn't care. I was like so excited. I'm like, holy shit, I've just found the holy grail here. So I was not concerned with following up on any of those. I immediately went to, okay, we got something here. We're going to sell this to the world because we've got something that no one else has. So that was my process. So I never even really followed up with any of those.
But if it had been a dozen only, and you would have followed up.
I would have just emailed them individually. I would have sent a short and sweet email specific to the point. It might have even been adjusted depending on, what keyword they put in. But yeah, my goal really was just to test the quality of the leads and see what kind of tiger I had by the tail. And when I saw the results, the first initial results, it was like, okay, I'm well outside my scope of expertise here. I'm not an email marketing specialist. So I put it out to a beta test to get other people. I also wanted to see, are the phone numbers good? So that was what the whole beta test was all about, was so I could measure the quality and the results of the product to know, okay, you know, how am I going to market this? Knowing what I know now, I'm not going to market it at all as phone numbers. The phone numbers are just, they're there. I'm just going to grease over that. I'm not going to promote it as a call these leads kind of thing, because I know a lot of the phone numbers get put in the system bad. Like when people are signing up or they're filling out forms, they're putting in bogus phone numbers. Or the other thing is, somebody that's using the computer isn't the same person that belongs to the marketing ID. So the phone number could literally, you could be spending your time, wasting your money and efforts calling people that aren't really the owner of the marketing ID that the lead was created from. Now, obviously it's a numbers game. So if you do that with email and it's automated, who cares? You just know, okay, we're going to get X amount of conversions out of this. It's going to be a percentage game and it's automated. So there's no waste of time and we can all live with that. So those were kind of the conclusions that I drew. And now knowing that, I know how to market that. I know who to take that out to and how to make a lot of money with that program and how to allow other people to make a lot of money with that. Because that's really the goal. The goal is it should never be about you. Your business should never be about you or how much you can make or how much this is going to do for you. Your business should always be about how you can help someone and how much benefit and help that you can do for them. And the more that you can do that, the more of that is going to roll back up the hill to you. So you never have to focus on yourself in business. Every time you do, and every time I have done that, it has not worked that way. It's been the exact opposite. So I learned long ago that I'm not in it for me, I'm in it for you. And it winds up coming back to me. So.
Facts. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Anybody else? We've beaten a lot of horses to death here today.
John, I was wondering, you were kind enough to let us jump to the guy with the SEO boost. You let us use the guy that created your SEO boost software and rebrand it for us.
Yeah.
Is it the same guy, or I don't even remember who that guy was, so I have to go find it. Or could we get your permission to go clone that video you just showed us for ACT? Because if I can get Kartra working, then it makes sense to, okay, now there's a reason to put that whole pattern together. But as long as I can't even find my butt from a warm biscuit in Kartra, I'm not going to promote it. But
Yes.
Okay, so how do we do that?
I mean, all you have to do is just show somebody a video and they can pretty much clone it in Fiverr. If you log into the SitePop membership area and you go into I think it's in the bonus section, I've got the information of who the guy was that made the SitePop video for us. And he's got the template. So he can take that template, change the script, he's really good at making those little short videos.
Perfect.
So
that's exactly what we need to streamline that process.
That's in there. I know a lot of you guys are not in the SitePop membership, so I'll take that and I'll move that into the ACT program too. So anybody that wants to have access to that, it's a vendor in Fiverr that does those little short videos, and he's really good. He's pretty cheap. Like I think it probably cost me a couple $100 to have that video made. I did the script. Do not expect someone on Fiverr to write that copy for you. That copy came from between my ears based on
That's why I wanted to use that's why I wanted to use, because you spent the $200 to clone it and change out the voiceover, which is all he's doing.
Yeah.
It was less than $100. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's well worth it. So
Yeah. So it's a good resource.
Hey, John, would you ever use, this might be a hairy question because you do your own thing, but would you ever consider using AI for writing script for videos to help you?
Yes, absolutely. AI is fantastic.
Okay, I just want
AI is an incredibly powerful tool. And I got to tell you, I am no match for the wisdom and the intelligence in AI. I am not. But there's things that I know that it doesn't. And there's things that I can do that it cannot yet. But it gives me an incredibly powerful head start.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing with AI is it's the same thing with everything else. You need to be different. You need to be unique. That's the reason someone's going to work with you. So if you go in and you're lazy when it comes to AI and you're using cheesy prompts that everyone else is using, it's going to give you almost the same data it's giving everyone else. And you're going to look like everyone else. So it's up to you to prompt the machine to give you what you want. And if you do, it'll give you unique information and it'll be right on the money. And you'll have very little editing to do. And you'll come out of it, you'll come out of it a winner. Versus, having it spit out generic stuff that everyone else is using and you just look like every other schmo out there. That's not the way to sell stuff. So I would definitely use AI. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's about all I got for you for today. We beat a lot of horses up. No animals were harmed in this filming of this video.
We'll do that next time.
They were theoretical animals that were beaten today. So all right, have a great week and we will talk to you all next week.
Bye, thanks.
thanks, John.
Thanks, John.